here. I'm gonna clip it right below your mouth, so try
Okay.
it.
All right.
You might have to go on the side. Try that.
Testing.
Okay. Well, I'll adjust the volume. Check, check. The microphone. It's a battery. It's fully charged. And if you're not on our email list, some of you are new over there. Next week on we will meet. Working at street of Wheeling.
First, I'll
No. Volume here. On time.
Thank you. My wife. Okay, testing. How's it doing? Is that good back here? All right. First of all, good afternoon. My name is Tony Paree. I appreciate you attending my presentation here today. I have a confession to make. I have a passion for matchbooks. I love them. And when I am finished with this presentation, I hope you will also. Shall we begin? Matchbooks. My little clicker. Okay. Matchbooks Felimini. That's a lover of lights. It's a hobby of collecting matchbooks and other match-related items. All right. Basically, during COVID-19 pandemic, when we were all afraid to visit family, friends, socialize, I went down in the basement trying to find something to do. And when I was down there, I found a glass bowl containing all the places my wife and I have ever been. Because everywhere I went, I asked for a matchbook. So I brought them upstairs and dumped them, tremendous amount of memories, took them back downstairs. That night I remembered, as a young kid and an adult and going to flea markets, I had 3 boxes of Wheeling Stogie matchbooks. So I brought them upstairs and dumped them, and 85% of these businesses were out of business. And I thought, you know, these names should be preserved. And I got the idea for this book, and 4 years later I did it. Now I'll tell you about matchbooks. In the 1880s, matchbooks were invented. There was a gentleman named Henry Trott from Diamond Match Company, was a salesman, minimal sales. And like most creative people, he had this idea, wonder if I could talk people to put their advertisement on top of this matchbook and go to the customer and entice them to use it. So he came up with the idea, he went to the Pabst Blue Ribbon, and he said, listen, put your name on here, you give it to every beer joint, every cigar shop, and they could hand it out free, no cost, minimum to you. Each time a matchbook is used, it's a minimum of 30 times it's exposed. So all of a sudden, they bought 10 million matchbooks right then and there from him. Then he went to, what was the other one? I can't recall, but they bought another 5 million, and it took off. So, first of all, before I continue, I want to thank Dr. Charles Julian for doing my presentation here, for these slides. Without him, I wouldn't have even tried it, okay? Now let's look at local history as told through these vintage matchbooks. Now, these are matchboxes. I'm showing you this for one reason. Matchboxes were first started in 1886 by the Wheeling Standard Match Company. The bottom one shows an airplane. Now, this was done by the West Virginia Match Company. They were pre-war from 1920 to 30, and they always featured airplanes. Top left, Wheeling Match Company, 31st and Jacob Street. They went out of business in 1965 because of cheap imports. A friend of mine went into that building 10 years ago. He said the smell of sulfur was still intact. Okay. Now everybody should know this guy. He graduated from West Virginia, earned 5 varsity letters in different sports. No one will ever do that again. Chuck Halley of Warwood, Wheeling, was drafted by the Chicago Bears in 1958. In 1959, he had a major knee injury. He then returned to Wheeling and started this gas station. Was in business 2 years only. Why? Because he was recalled by the Dallas Cowboys 2 years later. So we all know him as a member of the Dallas Cowboys, but he is better known for being the most valuable player of Super Bowl V, and is the only player on a losing team ever to receive the MVP. At the top of this matchbook is an ad for U-Haul that started in 1945. It was common to see 2 different things on one matchbook. Hard to read, this was picked up on the street, and the name of the company is Lowland Slasher New System Restaurant. I don't know if you can see it, but on the interior, Wheeling High School football schedule, 1935. Now, look at the second matchbook, the second, September 21st, Warwood, they're playing, and it's called Away Game. Think about it, Warwood was only 15 minutes away by trolley, but to them it's an away game. Now, I'm going to read it to you at the bottom here because I found this so interesting. Playing Warwood for the first time on foreign soil, Warwood, okay? Wheeling High School nosed out the green and white on the Garden Park gridirons under a burning sun yesterday, 6-0. Well, 1,500 customers sweltered in the stands. That's a lot of people. Admission for the game was 50 cents, okay? Now, I'm talking matchbooks, I'm showing you this for one reason. On eBay, you'll see a lot of what I call salesman samples. Now, if you read that, it says Margot's Point Restaurant and Bar, 356 Rope Ferry Road, Wheeling, West Virginia. It doesn't exist in Wheeling. The only place that existed when we researched, thanks to Charles, was Westport, Connecticut. Now, why did they put that on there? Because it's a promotional matchbook to entice the customer to buy it. Selden samples do not have folds, matches, or a staple inside. It is just so the salesman can demonstrate to the customer. Now, since I'm on eBay again, check out those prices. Incredible, huh? Am I blocking your view over there? All right, so basically, you see an Elby's, 35 bucks on eBay. Come on, that's not 250, 3 max. And basically, what is the value of a matchbook? It's what you are willing to pay for it. Now, if my dad had a bar and I didn't have a matchbook from it and I saw it on eBay, I might go pretty extreme bidding on it because it is a memory. And that's what matchbooks are, memories. This is typical of the many type of grocery stores in the area. It's hard to believe that Byright at one time had 13 stores in the tri-state area, and they were a self-service store. One picture is at 1413 Warwood Avenue. The building still stands. And if I ever researched all these avenues, it'd be an incredible book right there. But my wife would kill me. But anyhow, moving on, here's some vintage transfer trucks. It didn't change. Thank you, Charles. There we go. Okay. Of course, they would do all the packing, unloading, and move it from point A to point B. Here's 3 examples from Wheeling Vintage. Warwood Transfer was founded in 1908 and closed in, I think it was 1979. When it first started business, they were hauling horse-drawn vehicles then, okay? Now the second one is J.E. Miller. They began in 1890 and closed in 1968. The last one, as you can see the truck, that's from, I don't know this place, but they were in business probably 50, 60 years. Now when you look at that matchbook, look at it real closely, look at the right-hand side. You see the striker? Look how much thicker that is. Definitely from the 20s and 30s and early 40s because it got skinnier. Here we go. 3 of these matchbooks, I picked them off the street. Generally, these matchbooks would never be in a book because of the condition. I could care less about condition. It's the only one I have of this company like that, and it's in my collection because of that. But it's hard to believe Marsh Wheeling Stogies was founded or started in 1840 and left Wheeling in 2001. I always thought they should have fought to keep them here, but I have no control of that. So you're looking at an early matchbook on the bottom of the second one from them. And when I think of matchboxes, I always think of Jaws, when for just a glimpse, second, it showed a matchbox from Wheeling, West Virginia. Look, I always liked that. Now on the right-hand side is Block Brothers or Mail Pouch. They started in 1879. Now the Block Brothers produced chewing tobacco as a sideline to their grocery store. Now it is one of the most recognized names in business. So anyhow, there we go. People I like right here. On the right-hand side is Weldy Buick, 1919, 2006. Now, you're looking at a matchbook that a salesman would present to the customer. They would produce these matchbooks welding for the customer to increase their trade by turning them out. Okay? Now, the name on here, we did some research. And he was a salesman for Weldy's from 1939 to 1942. So right away, that tells you the age of the matchbooks. And the second one, the Buick convertible, that was my dream car when I was a kid. That's a 56. To me, it still looks as great as it does today. On the far left, you have a matchbook from Bruce Seabright. Now, young people today would not know what this vehicle is. It's a station wagon. It was a perfect, really, it was perfect vehicle suited for suburban life because it was so big. How big was it? I want to tell you. Believe it or not, it was 18 to 18 and a half feet long. Now think about that. That would make it 3 to 4 feet longer than a Chevrolet Suburban. Made of steel. That was a real vehicle. On the second one there is a little matchbook from Hyundai's, and it said Ford for the 40s. So you can almost tell what a matchbook's from description, striker, etc. Now, I have a bunch of political matchbooks, politicians. We grabbed this one, so we used it. Now, this one is James Harkin, and he ran for council in Warwood, and it tells you his qualifications on the right, and that he came in second place to Harry Daler in 1963. I always felt that was unreal. Now, group of politicians, you know, I know, and they were all outstanding, I thought. Matchbook for in the old days, you would give out a calling card. No, a matchbook. You come up to me, hey, and you hand them a matchbook. And they had that record on them 30 times when they showed it, okay? So when you pick up a matchbook, I can honestly tell you, you will look at it, you will read it, and that's the idea of a matchbook. Generally, everybody who ran for office felt they could contribute to their city or state. And I think matchbooks captures time because you look at these politicians, you know them, and it captures them in time. Moving on. All right, on the left is a winning matchbook advertising Macmillan's motor oil. On it is stated that Colonel Roscoe Turner, and that's the gentleman there, for the third time, won the Thompson Trophy Air Race at a speed of 283 miles per hour in 1939 in Cleveland. Now, he was widely known for his flamboyant style and his pet, Gilmore, who was a lion. His pet was a lion, and he flew with him, Gilmore the lion. So when he passed away, Gilmore, he went to a taxidermist, had it mounted, and he brought it home to Indianapolis. That would be every wife's dream. Now, somewhere, either now, I'll do it now because I know at the end of the presentation someone will ask me, what is the most valuable matchbook out there? And that is that one on the right there. Captain Lindbergh. Matchbook is the most famous and expensive in the world. Issued for a celebration dinner at the Astor on June 14, 1927, honoring Lindbergh for his transatlantic flight. It is highly converted by collectors. Why? Because he was a colonel, so it's a mistake. He's got captain. At this banquet, they only made 200 matchbooks. Today, only 12 are known to survive. And the last one that sold, let me check my notes, in 2019, with 2 matchbooks inside, sold for $6,100.
So do you own one of these?
Oh, hell yes. Just kidding.
Our pants on fire.
Just kidding. All right, I'm going to switch to some local service stations. And some that you might know, some you might not. The one on the right-hand side has complete service. Now, I've been around long enough to know that when you went to a service station, in my era, they washed your windows, checked your tires, looked under the hood, and even gave you top value stamps. So what I'm trying to do is briefly touch on a lot of different subjects for you, okay? Moving right along. Oh, these are the Grilly matchbooks. Every single bar in the world gave out a Grilly matchbook. Today, they're highly collectible. I have no idea why. No idea why. So we'll just cut that right there. Bowling. I remember bowling was absolutely crazy in the 60s and 70s. At that time, it was established as around 4 to 6 million bowlers. It was the golden age of bowling. And I want to tell you, all these places smoked and they had out matchbooks. They were incredibly popular.
One of them was in the Capitol Theater.
Right.
That's it right there.
Right. Oh, that was a big one. All right, thanks to Charles Julian, I had this matchbook and I knew very limited about it. Chuck gave me notes. I'm going to read some of it to you because I think it's a great matchbook. Now, he found the date was 1940 in the actual advertisements in the paper. I want to take you back to 1914. Does not that matchbook look risque? I can remember 40s, 50s, 60s growing up. You never saw a husband and wife in the same bed. It was separate beds, and they were in pajamas. So when you see this, you go, how could they even put that in the paper? We're about to find out. The newspapers published and operated under Broad Street press guidelines, okay? So when they showed an exotic dancer like this one, it couldn't look like an actual naked woman. It had to be line drawn and gave the imitation, okay? So, it says here it's a stage show. Now the stage show, because of this ad, was under the strict eye of the local Wheeling Police Department and City Licensing Board. If a real woman appeared bare-breasted on the Capitol stage, the theater owner could be arrested for public indecency and lose their license. So how could they put their ad in here like that? It's called the bait and switch strategy. The illustration served as a classic illustration, and the producers used a living art tableau trick to satisfy both sides. The audience got to see the beautiful statuesque showgirls looking exactly like the newspaper drawing, except they were dusted in powder, wearing skin-tight, flesh-tone, silk stocking bodysuits, and frozen perfectly still. Under the dim stage lights, to legally count them as living statues rather than real flesh. Switch and bait. What was that show like? Well, the cost of it was 55 cents. And to me, for a 3-hour show, that's not too bad.
We got to see the movie, too, afterwards.
I haven't got there, Charles. I haven't got there.
There it is.
All right, so we're going to start. Some of you might remember this Capitol had a grand, I think it was called Robert Morton pipe organ that would come up out of the stage. And they would use that as the audience filled into the station, theater. Going back to when I was a child, I can remember these. It always started with a 10-minute movie featuring the later dispatches from the escalating war in Europe or local history. Then would be an 8 to 10-minute cartoon. And then the movie would start. But in this case, the Grand Casino Review started on stage. Then at the end of that was a movie. So I think that's enough on that subject. Isn't that a great matchbook, though? This next one's, I might get in trouble. I might get in trouble on this. You're looking at a nice collection of vintage Chinese food matchbooks. They were popular for the simple reason that the food is good. In the middle 20s, chop suey became popular among middle-class people. Later in the 60s, Chinese dishes became sweeter, boneless, and deep fried. And who can forget the fortune cookies? Now, I'm going to take a real chance here by reading these names, so I hope I don't flub it. New China Restaurant. Chinese Restaurant Hung Fu Long. Moving on, Oriental Gardens, and the last one is Magic Wang. I don't know where they got these names. All right. This is a combustible matchbook. It ignites when you pull the match off, it's lit. I can't believe they made this because of children. Okay? This was offered on eBay for $1.55. And when I saw it was from Hazel Atlas Glass Company, I waited until the last minute to bid on it and won it. I can understand why no one bid on it. It looks defective. It looks bad. But in the center, the fold is printed. You barely can read it. Pull quick. Just a note on Hazel Atlas, they were one of the largest glass manufacturers in the world at one time. Okay? And there's a beautiful example of their trademark. So these were popular in the 30s and 40s. They had a hidden striker strip inside. I just showed you that just to continue the variety of matchbooks. One of my favorites, because I was in the clothing business. It's a super distinctive 3 1/4 by 4 matchbooks from the 30s by Allen and Hunter, who called themselves the Hatters of Wheeling. At the world's famous Stetson was on the reverse. Now here's a classic view. Look at the guy in the car. Classic view of a gentleman in a bold chalk-striped suit talking to a chauffeur or policeman at a no parking sign. The woman sitting in the convertible seems indifferent. You can feel the era in this matchbook when it was produced. You can feel it was the 30s. You feel it. There are 11 matchbooks inside, and they're 2.5 inches long, and each one had Stetson on it. Now, at one time, this was what a man would do in public. In that era, you would not go outside without a hat. You would not wear a hat inside, and if you saw a woman of the opposite sex, you would tip your hat as a courtesy. Today, hats are minimal, caps are minimal. It's baseball hats. I wear them. I love them when I walk. I really do. When it became popular for people to wear the hat backwards, I could never figure that out. Why would I want to protect my neck, you know? So I'm at a West Virginia football game, and that sun's beating down. And I mean, it's beating down. I'm nice and shaded. 3 guys in front of me are doing this. Yeah. Never could figure that out. All right. Banks all gone. These are all gone. A lot of stuff in Wheeling gone. The one on the left is the Morris Plan Saving and Loan. started in 1917, and they were famous for their Christmas club and vacation club. I used to use them all. Later, the name was changed to Wheeling National Bank in 1978. And 2002, it became West Banco. Everybody buys everybody in banks. Second one is the Wheeling National Bank, First National Bank of West Virginia. Started in 1817, closed in 1949. It was the oldest bank in the state. Now, this is their building and the Main and 12th Street. It's empty. I hope that they can save the second skyscraper of Wheeling. It just saddened me to see it's empty. Third one is interior view of People's Federal, and the fourth one is the half-dollar bank, 1896 to 1987, merged with United, and they're soliciting for safety deposit boxes. One of my favorite matchbooks are called die cuts or contours, okay? They're really highly collectible. The matchbook from the half-dollar trust and saving bank, the first one, is probably one of my favorite. It has a wonderful illustration of the Pittsburgh Steelers helmet the way it used to be, and inside the 1979 football schedule, and that was the year that they won their 4th Super Bowl. Now, who can forget the great names like Joe Green, Bradshaw, Jack Lambert, and on and on. So that's a special one to me. The one on the right is called Sam's, one of the original drive-thrus, and they had the Sam Burger. I remember them for their banana splits, which was a real treat. 3 banks that are now defunct also, okay? McClure opened at 1200 Block Market, 1852, 115 rooms. Remodeled in 1899, and the side was now, up to 300 rooms, okay? And it is closed now. Of course, it's a different building because they tore down the original. Rogers opened in 1944, 44 and 14th Street. What is it famous for? Fireproof building. You can always read that up there. The one on the right, the Hotel Windsor, stood on Water Street, and they were famous for their river views. More expensive. It was built in 1914, 12 stories, closed in 1973. It's now called Windsor Manor, has 109 unit HUD apartments for seniors 62 or older. I'll just show these real quick. These were all tire companies. When the tire first came out, it was solid rubber. It was perfect for the slow cars like the Model T. And in the 50s, the radio tires came out, and that's what we use today. First one on the left, I'll just touch on. That was Kelly's 1894 Springtown, Ohio, bought by Goodyear, moved to Akron. I could get into those, but I won't. Here's everybody's favorite. Anywhere I go, people still say to me, I miss Selby's. They really do. They always like certain things about them. Believe it or not, they started in 1956. I thought they were older than that. And by the time they closed, not closed, I don't want to say it that way. And at one time, they had over, I didn't check how many stores they had, but it was considerable. And they employed 2,500 people. That's how many stores they had. Now, when you look at the matchbooks, to me, the third one definitely was the original Big Boy. The one on the left was a later version of it. I can honestly say that I went to each and every one of these restaurants, and they're all gone, every one of them. Now, this is a good place, rather than get into them, I want to talk about matchbooks. In the mid-70s, 35 billion matchbooks were produced. Okay? And on each matchbook, on the bottom, was written, close cover before clothing. And I want to think of all those matchbooks, and that had the same saying. Could that be one of the most printed sayings ever? I don't know.
Clothes covered more strength.
Right, yeah, two variations.
You said closing.
Thank you, Charles. He's my man. Charles is my man.
Said in friendliness, not in criticism.
Yeah, no. Hey, at my age, I don't sweat that. All right. There we go. Now what you're looking at here is something I'm sure every member of our family at one time company worked for it. Whether you were in college, out of college, your father, Wheeling Still. Wheeling Corrugating was established in 1890. In 1968, Wheeling Still merged with Pittsburgh Steel in 2000. It filed bankruptcy in 2012, and of course it no longer exists. At one time, their customer base was over 3,500. That is a lot of jobs gone, a lot of jobs gone. What caught my eye was the Wheeling Still 20-gallon trash can. It really looks great there. Now they're saying that they have an exciting new improvement. They made them in colors, turquoise, solid green, brick red, white, green, yellow, gray. Has anyone ever seen a garbage can in color? I never have. You have? Oh, you worked for them, that's right. And you saw the color ones? Did they sell them or just? Okay, I guess Wheeling just got the double stuff. All right. On the right-hand side of this matchbook tells you the products that they made. I'm excited about that. All right. Great companies, once gone, once here. Let's talk about them. Knox was a major maker of cast iron and steel rolls for rolling mills. In the 70s, they even had a contract to make armor for the M60 battle tanks. Weimar was a major supplier for meat in this area, and their plant employed 60 people, and they contained a wheeling capacity of 1,000 hogs, 200 cattle, and 500 calves. The third one is pathetic-looking matchbook I picked out at water on a rainy day. It's the only one I have, Stone and Thomas. I love it. So, you mentioned Stones. They started in 1847 and was the dismissed of downtown Wheeling when they closed in 1998. Ellis Goods department store, we forget that it went from Market to Main. That store did. And what it was famous for was the talking Christmas tree in its window. And it scared the hell of those kids, I'll tell you. Oh, nightclubs, okay. Zeller's Steakhouse on the left was operated by racketeer Big Bill Elias at 1429 Market Street. It was very much an authentic restaurant, believe it or not. But upstairs was a full-fledged illegal casino. So that's how it was. Inside also is an ad for the Owl Club. The one on the right, check out that interior. It's magnificent, a Club Diamond at 1411 Market Street. And every night they had top Broadway entertainment or comedians, top of the line. Both these clubs, when air conditioning came out, they quickly added it for the comfort of the customer while they took their money. In the 50s, if you were a patient in a hospital, a host would come around and sell you cigarettes. It's true, we forget these things. It was quite common then. I can remember people smoking in a hospital and in retail stores. You can too, from your reaction. In 1964, the Surgeon General Advisory Committee on Smoking and Health found there was a definite link between lung cancer and chronic bronchitis and cigarette smoke, okay? Now, complete different matchbook because I had so many different matchbooks. This is the advertisement from the original sales of lots in Shawnee Hills. And this was done by a salesman. Now, as you know, that's one of the great places to live. All right. One of my favorite matchbooks also. I love when they have the dates on it. I just love that. So this is a jank feature matchbook, which means the size was 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. Dated 1937 for Zenith long distance radios. That was the thing then, to have a radio that you can capture overseas or West Coast, East Coast, okay? Now this electric appliance company was located at 1009 Main. They were in business from 1918 to 1982. I'm shocked how many businesses went out of the business in the 80s. I don't know why, I didn't research it. Now to a radio collector, this is highly desirable. I'm going to take you back to the past when you were kids now. Can you remember a radio was a piece of furniture? In your front room, that was the main thing you looked at. Chairs were laid around it. I told my kids one time I can remember watching the radio. That's what we did. We watched the radio. Dogs were widely featured on matchbooks because of their mass appeal. They're a symbol of loyalty, reverence. Depiction of sporting breeds, and especially, were very popular. Now, I'm going to tell you a joke. It's going to scare my wife. You ready? A poodle and a collie are walking together when the poodle suddenly unloads on his friend. My life is a mess, he says. My owner is mean. My girlfriend ran away with a schnauzer. And I'm jittery as a cat. Why don't you see a psychiatrist, suggests the collie. I can't, said the poodle. I'm not allowed on the couch. Thank you. I only got a couple more for you. This will be the last matchbook that I show you, and I put it here for a reason. In October 19th, 20th, and 21st, 1951, this is when this matchbook is from, the 800-bush Clydesdales came to Wheeling. We then had the opportunity to see the largest draft horse on earth. I can remember being there. My dad took me. That was a thrill for me. In 1933 is when the Clydesdale was created. Why? Budweiser used them to commemorate the repeal of Prohibition, and they've been active ever since. Now, their last visit to Wheeling was on July 21st to 21st, 2011. They went because of Carenberg distribution. and they went to the Italian festival. I think it's time to bring them back. Of course, now, the only place you can buy my book for distribution is Amazon, so I just wanted to put that in there.
We're here.
Thank you, Charles. And for here, discounted. Oops. By the way, I got inside the book at the very beginning. I put a note, you will turn the book upside down. Why? A matchbook's folded like this. So you see one side, other, but when it's open, they're going different directions. My very first book sold, this woman came up to me, she says, I don't understand you. I said, how's that? I have to turn this book upside down to look at it. I said, well, it's printed. Sure.
Test. Okay. Can you hear me through this? Okay. For those of you who know, bear with me. For those of you who don't, this program is live streamed. The people watching online can only hear questions and comments if they're spoken into this mic. So if you have a question or a comment, raise your hand and I'll scoot on over to you.
I have a comment because as I was watching, and you mentioned that there would be memories. I think every line brought a memory to me. But a big one was, there was an a political advertisement screen, and one of the people who was advertising for running for some office, whose name, right now I can't remember, but he was running, and the ad was on there, and I was in church with him Sunday. You had it.
Tony, I've purchased all 3 books. They're very, very informative. Gives you a history of Wheeling. I mean, they're really good to have. I enjoyed looking. They're easy to read, and they're worthwhile purchasing. Believe me, they are. It's a good book. A good book for a good man.
Tony, don't be nervous now. One comment, which a lot of people do know probably, but if there are any younger people here, it's close cover before striking, because you might set on fire all the other matches in the matchbook. So I think that's interesting. If you're younger, you may not realize that. What do you think is the most valuable matchbook that you own? And is it correct that the bulk of these that we saw on screen are in your book?
I'd like to make a comment about Zeller's Steakhouse. I'm sorry I was never there, because the stories abound in Wheeling about Zeller's and the great steaks. But I had a friend, Martina Burke from Warwood, a real lady. She was a musician, and she told the story. She went to school and studied organ. She came back to Wheeling. She needed a job. they were looking for a musician at Zeller's. So she was interviewed by Bill Elias, and he hired her. Now, she told me she had to wear a gown every night, and there were two musicians. There was her and a violinist, a piano and violin, very high class. And when Bill Elias entered the room, and I forget what she told me, but there was a certain music that they played whenever he came into the room to announce to everyone that Bill was in the house. Well, she played there for years, and he told her, he said, don't you listen to any of those lines that these guys give you, because she was beautiful. She was very young in those days. But then music changed, and she was let go because they wanted more hip-hop and that kind of thing. But I just treasure that memory of her playing at Zeller's.
Anybody else have a question or a comment they want to share? I will bring the mic to you. All right, Mr. Oh, we got a surprise.
Something else to say. I think working with you, Tony, I was a little skeptical at first when Tony said to me, we want to work together on a book about matchbooks. I said, matchbooks? Really? Matchbooks? But what I've found in working with Tony, and you've seen some of it in the presentation today, is that there are stories behind all of these. I mean, we could pick out 2 or 3 of these matchbooks and probably do a whole Lunch with Books program just on 2 or 3 of the matchbooks. So it's not just something that got thrown aside. It's a history of our locality, a history of our people and of our lives and of the things that happen, all in this little thing that just sits on the counter.
Anybody else? One last question, comment, anything?
What brought me here today is I've known Tony for so many years, and I had to grab, even though it's worn out and I don't wear it anymore, suit jacket from Crohn's and the clothes hanger from Crohn's. Long time ago.
Awesome. One last chip. There you go.
That was a wonderful presentation, and thank you for acknowledging that you went to school with my uncle. That touched me, that you recognized me at this stage of the game. But my question is, so during all your opportunities, was there ever a match aware for Doc White? Were you familiar with the pharmacy on Chaplin Street? He was, okay.
His mic is out.
Okay.
People on my team.